Hello and welcome. Obviously a very big content warning for this video. I'm going to be talking about a captor and his victim. I am going to try my best to make this video a little less uncomfortable than my experience watching this episode. So the events of this episode start in autumn and go all the way until Christmas. In this episode, we see the evolution of Kate and Martin in the house. So Kate arrives at Martin's front door, as we saw last week, and of course he lets her in. She's distraught after the fight with her mother. She has a bag packed and she tells Martin that she feels alone. And we know that for Martin, it was all leading up to this. Even though it may appear that it was Kate's choice to come over, Kate's therapist tells her that groomers isolate their victims, and he knew that she didn't think she had anyone else to confide in, and that Martin positioned himself to be that person for her, the caretaker, the savior, but he's in no uncertain terms a predator. Kate wakes up the next morning having slept on Martin's couch, and she goes exploring and ends up in the basement. She's just looking though. She's still allowed to move around the house at this point. They have breakfast together and he leaves first for school, and he asks if she'll be okay to walk. As Martin exits the house, we see Mallory with a video camera filming for her prank, and she giggles as Martin gets sprayed by the sprinklers, and obviously she doesn't see Kate at this point. It really struck me here that while there was something so sinister beginning in the house, there was Mallory still in her high school innocence giggling over a prank, and I don't know, it just got to me. So Kate seems quite comfortable exploring the house, and she even tries to cook Martin a pizza. She ends up skipping school because she says that she was thinking of what to say. She says that she needs help making up a lie, and Martin is panicking now at this point because Kate's mom has been to the school and she knows that Kate is missing, I guess, and he asks Kate to leave, and she's about to when the phone rings. It's a detective, and Kate is officially a missing person, and the police are looking for her. Kate then decides that she wants to go home. She'll think of a lie, even though she's not a good liar. Martin is blaming himself, feeling guilty, as he should, or more, he's just scared of getting caught, and he starts drinking. Kate, ever the teenager, suggests a game to help them get their minds off things, and they decide to play Never Have I Ever. Back at Kate's house, I'm guessing this is before the call from the sheriff to Martin, Kate's mother somehow still doesn't want to call the police when Rod suggests it, even though she's visibly flustered. She's in a little bit of denial, and she's convinced herself that Kate can look after herself, she'll be fine. We then skip to day 21 of Kate being in Martin's house. They seem happy together, playing a very disturbing game of house, but of course Martin can't escape the news where Kate's disappearance is still being reported. By day 30, we find out a little bit more about her life and what it's like these days. She says she just watches TV all day and she's bored, but the novelty hasn't quite worn off yet. She still thinks that she's happy there. Martin says that she should pick a place for them to go, and Kate suggests that they maybe move instead of go on vacation, and this becomes almost like a shared dream for both of them, or more like a folie à deux type situation. By day 34, Kate is all in, but she misses her parents. Of course, she can't have both worlds just yet, and Martin gently lets her know that. In these beginning days, Martin is sure to keep his patience with her when she gets a little bored or when she has a flash of missing her old life. She does tell her therapist, though, that she stayed because she chose him, and she knows anyway that as much as she misses her parents, she's not ready to lose Martin just yet. So his manipulation is working. Then one day, the doorbell rings. It's Greg, Jeanette's dad. He's having car trouble and he comes in, or more like he invites himself in. As Martin weakly tries to make excuses for why Greg can't, Kate hides in the closet. Greg uses the phone and calls his wife Cindy, and he also notices that there are 2 coffee cups, and Greg jokes about there being someone else in the house, like adult company. I know how things end up for Kate at this point, but did anyone else kind of hope that Greg would somehow catch on to something and that Kate would be saved? Because I was irrationally hoping for that, even though I knew it wouldn't happen. So over time, we see that Martin does get increasingly paranoid, and this is one of those events that makes him scared, and he starts blacking out the windows. By day 64, it's Halloween, and Kate wants to join in on the fun. She'll even wear a mask, she says, but Martin convinces her that they'll have to stay in. He also tells her that the police aren't really looking for her as much, and that's a good thing. It takes the attention off of them, and we already saw that in a future episode. He's going to play on that a bit more, the idea that everyone has moved on. It's around this time that Kate says to Martin that she's ready to talk about the reality of their situation. Again, she doesn't really seem ready to leave, but there are some definite cracks starting to show. It's day 89, and this is quite a heartbreaking scene when Kate asks Martin about her parents and about some game at school. It's as though she's trying to be very agreeable to their circumstances, but she can't hide that she misses misses the outside world and that the house and Martin might not be enough. Martin is reluctant to give her any information and he kind of dismisses her, and it's at this point that Kate is starting to become really disillusioned. By Christmas Eve, she's really struggling, but Martin is still trying to keep her happy, or should I say docile. Kate tells him that she misses the mall, she misses movies, and things that teenagers like, and the world outside and other people. At one point she mentions missing soft pretzels from the mall, and later Martin brings her one, but it's not the same for her. It's cold, and in general, it's lacking the experience of freedom and youth that teenagers would get by having them at the mall. Obviously, Martin tries to placate her, bringing her treats in bed, but he also knows that he can't keep her happy forever. Well, he can't keep her forever, period. Kate, still on Christmas Eve, dials the phone that's next to the globe in Martin's house, and she reaches Jamie's voicemail. In the background, a TV movie is on, and she winds up the globe, and as some of you in the comments correctly suggested, it's that music from In the Globe and the TV in the background that ends up on Jamie's voicemail. That evening, as Martin is walking into the mall, Jeanette spots him and she pulls over her hoodie, and I guess the coast is clear for her to go and break into his house again because he's away. Jeanette comes into the house, she takes the globe, but she hears something and rushes off, dropping her necklace, but she takes the globe with her and cycles off on her bike. Honestly, in this scene, I was also just glad to see Jeanette or anyone else to get a break from Martin and Kate and their stressful situation. Kate finds the necklace, she decides not to tell Martin, and her therapist tells her that in all likelihood, Kate was hoping that Jeanette would alert the police. Because while Kate wanted to leave, she just couldn't, and if she was rescued at that point, it wouldn't be like she had left. I was really glad for the therapist in this episode, and I actually feel like they should have used the therapist a lot more. Kate also confides in her therapist that she did leave Martin's house once and that she went to her parents' house. She snuck out at night while Martin was sleeping, and she sees them through the window laughing, which just breaks her heart. Just as Kate leaves though, we see that her parents get emotional about her disappearance. It's as though just as Kate was there, they had one laugh, and had Kate waited just a minute or two later, she would see that her parents are still absolutely distraught. And obviously they haven't forgotten about her. Kate's mother even wants to cancel Christmas, and honestly I felt really bad for her here. All this time we hope that she successfully snuck out, but Martin knew. It's almost like we know this already though, like you feel something, and that moment when Martin opened his eyes, I knew that was coming as well, but I still kind of yelled because it was pretty terrifying. And you know that things are going to change for Kate. 119 days, almost 4 months into her disappearance, and it's Christmas dinner and Kate is a bit distracted. Martin notices that she seems better and she says because it's Christmas, but Martin knows that it was likely because she snuck out and he can't have that, that there might be another source of her happiness and that she wants that connection with them more than she might him. He confronts her about sneaking out, and the therapist helpfully says that it was at this point that Martin was running out of tools to manipulate her with. Kate tells him that she went home, but she didn't go in, but Martin is still angry because she put him at risk, and they finally have it out. She can't stay locked in. He tells her that she can't go outside until she's 18, and Kate just says she wants to leave. I think this is the first scene that she also uses the word kidnapper. Like it finally occurs to her. She swears that even if she leaves, she won't tell anybody, and he begs her to stay, but she's determined. She's looking for her suitcase, and he tells her that her suitcase is in the basement, and that's when she goes down there and he locks her in, and that's the episode. As for my thoughts, well, when I was watching this, it felt like my flight or fight mode was engaged constantly. You know what Kate's fate is, and it's just a matter of time, and every time there may have been a chance for her to leave, that was even more stressful because you know that it's not going to happen. So obviously I feel like the moment she set foot in that house, she was his captive in a way, but I was surprised that she had gone about 4 months living with him in the house before she went into the basement. But this is very consistent with Kate's character, like she didn't want to make any trouble. Of course she thought she was in love with him, but it's very much like her to suffer in silence, and after all, Martin had isolated her so much. He was the person that she confided in. She didn't really have anybody else. It would also seem that in this episode, both Jeanette and Mallory are vindicated for now anyway, and that I guess Jeanette and Mallory are going to make up again. I think the biggest surprise for me this episode is that Kate completely made up that Jeanette saw her in the house. I really wasn't expecting that, even though I do kind kind of understand why she lied, at least the way the therapist kind of explains it. So anyway, that's it for this video. Feel free to share your thoughts below, and thank you for watching.